Today we are going to celebrate your admission in this institution, and the greenery environment of this campus will facilitate you for legal education. At the beginning of the session, I humbly request the dignitaries to light the lamp to start this session. Now I request Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Priti Saxena Ma'am to felicitate our distinguished guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Vipin Chandra Negi Ji, Honorable Judge, High Court of Himachal Pradesh. I request Honorable Vice Chancellor to felicitate Sri Piyush Verma Ji, Senior Advocate, High Court of Himachal Pradesh. Now I request the dignitaries to grace the dais to begin with the session. Thank you. Kulgeet of the University is a symphony of wisdom and courage to prepare young minds to serve the society with humility. I humbly request all of you to kindly sing together the Kulgeet of the University.
योगः करं सुकौशलम् योगः करं सुकौशलम् हिमाचल प्रदेश राष्ट्र विधि विश्वविद्यालय विश्व गुरु बनना है क्यों न गुरूर करें हिमालय से ऊंचा मस्तक जिसका दूरदर्शिता आसमान की परतें चिरे हवाएं झूम झूम नाम ले जिसका बर्फ कोमलता में दृढ़ता भरे देवित्य विधि के हर विधान की महान की। तथ्य से अवगत करा, तत्व अंगीकृत कराए, तर्क को अंगीभूत करा, वितर्क की पूर्ण आहुति डलवाए। कहता है हर युवा यहाँ लेखनी और वाणी वीर बने, कानूनी मदद का दरिया बहा, वाद विवाद प्रतिद्वंदी बने। इनके आंचल से चुरा सफेदी, चलाओ न्यायालय संस्कारों से, मिटाए अन्याय श्वेत श्याम वर्दी, ख्याति बढ़े देवभूमि की जिससे, न्याय की देवी का रूप सजा जहां, स्थापित करे सिंहासन सुनहरा, कुंदन बन संवरे विद्यार्थी यहाँ, सारे जग में एक हो नारा। हिमाचल प्रदेश राष्ट्र विधि विश्वविद्यालय, विश्व गुरु बनना है क्यों ना गुरूर करें।
So much, Professor Yasser Jaswal sir is our dynamic academic leader, Dean Academic Affairs, and sir has diverse experience in constitutional law and administrative law. The journey started with ILI. Today, he is going to deliver welcome address. I request him to deliver welcome address.
Thank you, Vijay. Honorable Chief Justice Vikram Chandra Lady, Judge, High Court of Madhya Pradesh. Shri Piyush Verma, Senior Advocate, High Court of Madhya Pradesh. Professor P.T. Saxena, Honorable Vice Chancellor, HPNLU. Alok Kumar, Registrar, National Registration. All the office bearers, faculty members, newly admitted students, and their parents. Sir, journey of National University Shimla started in the year 2016, when first batch of the 60 students were admitted BA LLB program. In the year 17 and 18, HPNLU Shimla conducted its own All India Conference, and two programs were started, BLLB and BBLLB, as well as LLB program. We started our journey from 60 students, and today we are around 1,000. All the students, they have been admitted now on the basis of select on their own merit, and we are expecting and wishing them all the very best for their future. All the undergraduate students will stay with a minimum 5 years if they are doing for Netherlands, 1 year more, and if PhD, you can add 4 or 5 years. So there is scope for minimum 9 to 10 years. Thereafter, you can be more fully in the faculty. It depends upon you. What is your choice and what you would like to do in your country. We are happy today that we have to turn off soil as the dice for this. By their hard work, dedication, and commitment, they have acquired their own place in the profession. We are privileged and honored to have Honorable Chief Justice Vikram Chandra Lady, who will preside over this program. Sir, I take this opportunity to welcome you on behalf of the commission. We are honored to have Shri Piyush Verma, Senior Advocate in the High Court of Madhya Pradesh. I have seen the growth of Mr. Piyush Verma from very initial stages. Senior Advocate these days, and I wish all the very best for your future and welcome you to this program. I warmly welcome my Vice Chancellor, my Registrar of the University, my faculty members, and all the newly admitted students, and wish you all the very best for your future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Priti Saxena ma'am is an eminent scholar of constitutional law, and I have privileged to request her to deliver inspiring address for all the students and HPNLU family.
Thank you, Dr. Patunja. Very good morning to one and all. And once again, welcome in Deekshaarambh 2026 of HPNLU. It's a privilege for all of us that the dais is being graced by all the heights of legal profession from yesterday to today. We had the Vice Chancellor yesterday, the highest in the academia, maybe your aspiration. Today we have a senior advocate as the judge of the High Court of Himachal Pradesh, another aspiration for the law students. So you can see your future, the person sitting in front of you. Honorable Justice Vivian Negati, Judge High Court, the President of this session of Deekshaarambh, Mr. Piyush Verma ji, Senior Advocate, High Court of Himachal Pradesh, Dean Academic Dr. Jaswar, Professor Alok, the Registrar, my faculty members, teaching and non-teaching colleagues, their students, and your parents. It's a very good occasion for all of you that you are going to hear the word of experience and learnings from the two authorities on law, one as the interpreter, other as argumenting before the court of law. So you can see your future in front of these two legends who are sitting on the dais today. As I told you yesterday also that this is the beginning of your journey for 5 years, and this is not only going to shape your careers but also what type of citizens you are going to be here, and also along with the citizen what type of professional you are going to be here in this 5 years journey. Today you arrived here as a newcomer. You are curious, you are hopeful, you are anxious, you are excited, a little bit you are worried also. What you will be doing in these 5 years, coming 5 years. But this is an established truth that every new beginning brings a mixed feeling. And that mixture of the feelings is very natural as well as very, very useful also. It means you care about what lies ahead. So over the next 5 years, you will study law, but more importantly, you will learn how to think like lawyers. You will learn to frame problems precisely. You will learn to weigh competing values, and also you will learn to advocate responsibly. So my dear young friends, never forget that this transformation does not happen by accident. And that's why it's a 5-year period. It requires intention, it requires discipline, and it requires reflection also. Reflection on what you did, how you did, what left behind. Was there anything other which you you could do, and are you satisfied with your studies as well as your results? So many points to reflect. So allow me to offer a few thoughts to guide you today as you begin this journey. First, make learning your central habit. As I also told you yesterday, that law is a profession where you have to read, read, and read. So this has to be your central habit. I was just discussing with Honorable Jester, and he was saying that he has a very, habit of reading the things. In the morning, he reads 6 newspapers, and then the articles and many other things besides what the law is there. So this you have to inculcate in yourself also. The habit of learning. And law schools rewards this sustained reading, careful analysis, and willingness to revise your views. So when presented with better reasoning, and for that you need to read cases and statutes very closely, practice problem solving regularly, and treat feedback from teachers and your peers as a tool for your improvement. So never feel harassed that any other person or any teacher, if he is giving you some feedback, then take it. That it is going to improve yourself. Because what is needed is not to compete the others. It is the competition within yourself. You have to be your good version on the next day what you are today. So never compete, because this is all India competition. You are coming here. Many of you maybe from first generation, second generation, or third generation in this profession. So never compare with the others. The second generation or third generation student may be knowing something more than the first generation student. So don't compare with them. Try to learn from them as your peer, and try to be a best version of yourself. This is something which is very important for all of you. If you are seeking here all these things, then you will always improve your knowledge, because knowledge is the foundation of advocacy, and without it, eloquence is empty. The second point which I would like to put before you is value skills as much as theory. Because law teaching, law learning is not confined to the lecture halls, it is not confined to the doctrinal studies, it is something more than that. And that's why the law teaching in 5-year programs particularly, that requires your participation in various other things than that of the classroom teaching and lectures. So you have to participate in various programs which we are offering at HPNLU. It's a moot court area, crime counseling, crime scene investigation, many other competitions, youth parliament. So we have a lot of programs, and all of you must have seen yesterday various committees and cells, their directors, chairpersons, they have given what they are doing here, and now you are going to be a part of those activities. So it depends that you want to learn only by books, or you want to learning by doing. And if you are learning by doing, then this would have a larger impact than the books itself. Further, remember that law has a social purpose also. Law exists to regulate relationships, it exists to protect the rights and to achieve justice. So, dear friends, as the future lawyers, judges, and academics, or the policy makers, your expertise will affect real life. Keep empathy and public service at the center of your practice. Volunteer for pro bono work, engage with communities, and listen the perspectives of the others also, and to analyze that how their perspective is different from your own perspective. And this will give you the strongest way of arguing before the court of law and understanding the advocate as a judge of the court. Most importantly, these habits of professionalism and ethics, punctuality, preparation, respectful conduct, and confidentiality. These are not mere formalities for HPNLU and LU students. You have to be very, very punctual to your classes. We follow BCI norms for attendance. Whatever judgments are coming, those are not for you. Because we follow BCI norms. Until and unless those norms are declared unconstitutional, we have to follow those guidelines. So you have to put your attendance here. You have to be very, very punctual in the class and respectful to your teachers as well as your peers also. So my next point is the nature's balance. So you have to have, because you are here in Shimla, it's the hilly region, and you have to nurture that balance. And 5-year programs are intense. It's a long duration. As long as I told you, you will be turning from teens, 18 age to your 20s. So protect your physical and mental health. I suppose that yesterday you may have the class for this psychological stress management, mental management. I don't think it is there yesterday, but it is scheduled for the coming days. So you have to keep this balance, protect your physical and mental health, sleep, exercise, and maintain good relations with your teachers, with your peers, with your friends, and of course with your parents. You talk them regularly and seek mentors among faculty and seniors. We'll be providing you a mentor-mentee list. So, and that is also be reflecting in your timetable. So, on first, third, and fifth Saturdays, you are to meet your mentors for any type of problem, whether it's a personal or academic. So, another point which I would like to place before you is that the law career, that's a sustained career in law that depends on endurance as much as your brilliance. So always prove to be good in your studies, embrace interdisciplinarity and adaptability, because the law is increasingly intersecting with technology, environment, economics, sociology, and so on. And I hope that Honorable Mr. Justice Negi sir will be reflecting also on these issues of intersection of law with other areas, technology as well. So finally, keep a long view of success. Law is entirely a new discipline for you. Therefore, mind this that every grade or single outcome cannot define you. In your first semester, whatever you are getting, that's not the final result of yours for 10 semesters program. It is not going to define you. You will be trying to understand your teachers, you will be trying to get what is happening in the first semester. And if the grades come as per your expectation and beyond your expectation and less than your expectation, so that's not the only thing which is going to define you. It is you who will define yourself by giving more and more hard work if the grades are not up to your expectation. Then yesterday you have seen the library also, and you know that ours is a fully automated library where you can have the access to newspapers also. I was just giving you the example of 6 newspapers. We have the kiosk which is having more than 5,000 newspapers daily. So it's your choice what you are going to do. Something you have to read daily, like the case laws, something which you like to read at least weekly, that is a judgment, and then also a legal article. So you start beginning, we are publishing 8 journals from HPNLU. So start from here. Whatever is there, you have to start. Today, you stand here at the threshold of a privileged opportunity. You all know that you are here out of those 97,000 students who appeared for CLAT examination this year. 97,000 plus students, they appeared for the CLAT examination. And you have cracked this examination, you are here, so consider yourself to be above all those who could not make it. So I wish you strength, curiosity, integrity in the years ahead, and look forward to seeing the contributions you will make to the legal profession, society, and to HPNLU. So I close with one anecdote. I heard this Honorable Justice Sachdeva of the Supreme Court of India. He was delivering some lecture for the advocates, and I thought it's very important so that I may also share that with you. So this was a case that a person who was a chain smoker, but he was very religious also. He asked the priest, "Can I smoke while praying to God?" The priest became very angry. He said, "What nonsense you are talking about? When you are praying, how can you think of smoking? It is not possible. You cannot smoke. Praying is praying, you cannot smoke at that time." But that person was religious as well as a chain smoker. So he pushed this problem before his friend who was an advocate. So the advocate friend said, "Don't worry, I'll get the permission from the priest. You can do both the things." That advocate friend went to the priest and he said that, "I have a friend who is very religious, and his problem is that whenever he wants to smoke, he wants to pray also. So is it possible that while smoking can he pray?" Priest was very happy. Praying is praying, anytime, anywhere. You can pray, no problem. So here you see the argumentative skill of that advocate, and with the change of the sequence of words, the permission granted. Praying while smoking or smoking while praying. These were the things. So permission was not granted. When praying you cannot smoke, but while smoking you can pray because it is always there. So all the best to all of you. Try to grow your skills and get more experience.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am reminds one of the finest work in Western philosophy by Aristotle, who suggested the art of persuasion is important for advocacy. And art of persuasion is one of the goals taught in various universities around the world. And one of the ways to persuade others is to connect people with the fables, the stories, the intervenes, how you connect with them. So, ma'am has given you very good lesson that as a lawyer, how will you connect with judges, how will you convince with your argument. So it is our privilege to introduce Sri Piyush Verma ji, Senior Advocate, High Court of Himachal Pradesh, an eminent member of Bar and a distinguished legal practitioner before the High Court of Himachal Pradesh. Sri Piyush Verma ji has an outstanding reputation within legal fraternity for his professional excellence and advocacy. He also served as a president of the Himachal Pradesh High Court Bar Association in 2024 as president, which reflects the confidence and respect reposed in him by the members of the bar. His journey in the legal profession served as an inspiring example for all of us for dedication, integrity, and commitment for justice. May I now request Sri Piyush Verma ji to kindly address our young students and share his invaluable experience.
Honorable Justice within CAEG, Honorable the Vice Chancellor, respected Anup ji, respected Jaswal ji, all the respected teachers present here, and last but not the least, dear students. I begin by thanking all of you for giving this not so young man an occasion to be amongst the young and the very young. I'm thankful to all of you. And next, I extend a warm welcome. I extend heartiest congratulations to all the students who would be part of this university and who would be making this university proud in times to come. Heartiest congratulations and a warm welcome to all of you. I see many young and energetic faces. I see tomorrow's lawyers, jurists, judges, bureaucrats, politicians in the audience. I see Nani Palkhiwala. I see symbols. I see upcoming judges, and I see upcoming bureaucrats. I am reminded of what a famous jurist, a famous French jurist, Barby said. That is exactly what is going to happen with all of you young faces, young friends, in the coming years. Presently, you are in the age group of 18 to 20, at the threshold of coming legal careers. And in times to come, you would be 30, 34, 35 when you would be settled. This is a movement from one stage to another. At 20, you are in a stage where if your heart doesn't rule your head, then there is something wrong with your heart. But from this stage, you have to move to another stage at 30, 35, where your head should rule the heart. If it doesn't do so, then there is something wrong with your head. So, dear friends, this is a movement, a journey from where the heart is ruling the head to where the head would rule the heart. You are going to be, after you complete your law course, you are going to be in one of the oldest professions of the world, rather the second oldest profession of the world. But for that, you would be required to concentrate on a few things. First thing is that you should be ready to work hard. You should be thorough in your subject. Whatever subject of law or of social sciences or of other subjects which form part of the curriculum, you have to be thorough with that. It is not this that you prepare 20 questions and pass the exam. Passing the exam is not the thing. You should know the basics. And the basics you would get to know only if you thoroughly study the subject. Because presently you are young. You have the capacity to read. You have the capacity to retain. And you have the capacity to put it into practice. If you learn the basics well today, then you can put these basics into practice. You can't learn these basics at a later stage when you are 45, 50, 55, 60 like me. So now is the time that you concentrate on your subject and prepare and read and study that subject thoroughly. Next, you have to develop the habit of reading. Because the profession which you are going to enter tomorrow, the basic difference between an ordinary lawyer and a good lawyer is the reading part of it. At least 1.5 to 2 hours, you should read. You should read law journals. You should read other subjects, not only law, but other subjects also. Because to be a good lawyer, you may not be a master of all fields, but you have to be a jack of all trades. You have to know science, you have to know social science, you have to know a bit of geography, and you have to know what is happening around you. It is only then that you can put your knowledge of law into appropriate practice and exercise. Once you complete your law, it's not this that you can only be lawyers. The whole world is open to you. And let me tell you that a student of law has comparatively much more options to join different professions as compared to a student of any other subject. Apart from being lawyers, you would have the options of being judges, you can have the option of being solicitors, you can become government leaders, you can become government law officers, you can become executives in multinationals. Not only this, the option of becoming members of the Indian Administrative Services or the state administrative services are also open, because law is one of the better options if in case you choose to go in for Indian Administrative Services or the state administrative services. So, what I mean to say is that law as a subject opens for you various professions, various vocations, wherefrom you can choose where you wish to go. Since I belong to the legal profession, I would be failing in my duty in case I do not tell you what exactly you should do once you are over with your law course, once you have the degree. During the degree, study thoroughly, work hard, attend the course, participate in the moot courts and other co-curricular activities which take place in the university. Once you obtain a law degree and you intend to practice or become judges in the near future, then first and foremost, join a good chamber. By good chamber, I don't mean the chamber which has the maximum work. In my opinion, you should join a chamber which is upcoming, where the senior is working hard, doing cases and interacting with his juniors. If you join a very leading chamber, then most of the time, the person heading the chamber would not have much time to interact with you. You would not be in a position to directly learn from him. You may have the chance of going through his files and learning from the other associates. But if you feel that the senior would devote much time to you, that would not be feasible. So join a chamber which is upcoming, where your senior makes you work, he makes you research, and he lets you do part of his work. And then know the procedure. You should know the procedure. In case you do not know the procedure of how to file a case, what are the different stages of a case, what is to be done at what stage, then you would not be able to be a good lawyer. And then research. Read. You should be aware of what the latest law is, because law is an evolving subject. What law was yesterday, what interpretation it was given yesterday, it may not be the same today. So you should keep yourself aware of what the latest legal position is, for which the research is the only way out. And then don't run after money. Don't run after money. Money you get from here, luck, forehead. But name and fame you get from sweat on this forehead. You should do pro bono work. Not much of it, but then you should make sure that part of your practice is devoted towards pro bono work. And one thing which I would like to say is that you should devote your initial years, maybe not more than 2, 3, 4 years, but you should devote those initial years to the subordinate courts. Because you would learn procedure more in the subordinate courts. If put in the words of Honorable Justice Wazifdar, then a subordinate courts lawyer is an artist. And a high court lawyer is a critic. An artist knows better than a critic what to say, how to say, and when to say. And a good lawyer is one who knows what to say, how to say, and when to say. The critic would only know where things went wrong. He would not be a good artist. So it's necessary that you devote some of your initial years in the district courts or in the subordinate courts as well. Lastly, I would end by saying 3 things. You are a Gen Z generation, but let me tell you, there is no shortcut to success. You cannot become successful overnight. It's hours and hours, days and days, years and years of hard work, perseverance that will make you successful. Do not become successful overnight. But then, don't be disheartened. There is another thing, hard work. Hard work is the key to success. If you're ready to work hard, if you're ready to toil, if you're ready to persevere, then there is nothing that can stop you from being successful. But always remember, law is a jealous mistress. It's a jealous mistress. The more time you give to her, the more successful she'll make you. And if you don't give her time, then you're doomed. So take care of your mistress. Give her time, and she'll make you successful. And then AI. AI is a tool. It may help you. It may supplement you. It may supplement your learning. But nothing matches the human brain. It is the human brain which has created AI. So make sure that your sole and absolute reliance is not on AI. Make your brain work, and that will give you better results. With this, once again, I wish all of you all the best in your endeavors. Work hard, attend classes, go through your subjects thoroughly, go to the library, participate in the moot courts, go to the courts and see for yourself that courts do not function like they are shown in the movies. Get a first-hand experience. You all are a lucky generation. Honorable Justice Vipin C. Negi ji would bail me out. During our days, the moot court used to be half an hour exercise by 100 students before one professor, and it would be over in half an hour. But you all are a lucky generation. The kind of opportunity which you would be getting, that was not available at our time. So you make the best of it. And if you do so, then I'm very sure that most of the young faces sitting out here would in no time make this university proud and add its name and fame to one of the better and the best universities in the country. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir words reminds me one story. Once I had an opportunity to ask a question to Ben Bakshi, a great eminent scholar of our country. Who is your inspiration? He said, it's not inspiration, it is perseverance. I could not understand what he was trying to say. He said, it is hard work which makes me whatever I am. Not inspiration, it is perseverance. Perspire, पसीना बहाया, मेहनत किया, तब आज जो भी मैंने लाइफ में अचीव किया. And then he quoted Dr. Ambedkar. He said, I was a student of Government Law College, Mumbai. और लाइब्रेरी में मैं पढ़ने जाता था तो मैंने देखा कि सारी किताबें गंदी हैं, अंडरलाइन की हुई है. तो उन्होंने प्रिंसिपल से कंप्लेन करने पहुंचे लाइब्रेरियन से कि ये तो सारी किताबें गंदी कर रखी किसी ने, मैं नहीं पढ़ सकता इस तरह की किताब. He said, do you know who did this? He said, it was Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, who was the principal of Government Law College. And he used to read in library like anything, and he used to draw those lines. He believed that labor creates life. So this is the reminder again, sir, is giving to you that hard work has no substitute. Today we have with us great a judge of our time, a philosopher judge, I would say. I have opportunity to read few of his judgments, and your lordship's words reminds what Cicero said: law is right reason in agreement with nature. The way he writes judgment, the way he perceives law and legal issues is incredible. Your lordship born in Dharamsala and got his bachelor degree in economics from Sriram College of Commerce, University of Delhi, and then he completed his LLB degree from Himachal Pradesh University and enrolled as in the bar in 1994. Your lordship has 3 decades of legal practice experience. Then he was also elected as president of bar Himachal Pradesh High Court Bar Association. Then made as senior advocate in 2015, and thereafter he was elevated as judge of the High Court of Himachal Pradesh in July 2023. We are privileged and honored to have you, sir, and I request you to deliver presidential address.
Distinguished speakers on the dais, faculty members, students, the reason why I am here. See, as a judge, what happens is you start getting used to listening to people. The very little opportunity which you get to speaking to people, you only deliver them. So there is no occasion. So when I came here, I was in a dilemma whether to prepare a speech, read it out to you, or whether speak to you as and as thoughts come to my mind. Now, taking a cue from what previous speakers have spoken, see, where does the word rationality come from? It comes from, etymologically, it comes from a word called ratio. Now, ratio of what? It comes from the ratio of the head and the heart. You can't have decisions which are headstrong, you can't have decisions which are only owned by the heart. There has to be a right admixture. Right? Now, I'll tell you the basis of this entire thing, the quote which was spoken of. The simple example is, you see a family of 5 people, you are young people, you are 18 years age, most of you. You see a family of 5 or 7 people living in one room. Similarly, you see a family of 5 people living in a big bungalow, right? So it immediately hits your heart and you say, what is wrong with this system? Why are 5 people living in a small room and why are 5 people living in a bungalow? So you are driven by what? You are driven by your heart. So the saying goes that if at the age of 18 or 20 you're not driven by your heart, if you're not driven by your heart, then there's something seriously wrong with your heart. And if you don't have these kind of socialistic, communistic feelings in you, something wrong with your heart. But as and as you grow, what happens is you suddenly start realizing the reason as to why those 5 people live in one room and those 5 people live in a big bungalow. That's when your head starts operating, right? So now when you take a decision, when you come to a conclusion, then comes the right admixture of the head and the heart. And that's where the word rationality comes into being. And the rationality comes etymologically from the word ratio, as I told you. The head, heart must have a right mixture. You can't be head strong, you can't be heart strong, right? Now, you are all going to get into this profession in a couple of years, in 5 years or so on, right? Now, I'll take you back to when I was studying in school. I'll take you back to when I was in class 2. I had this very interesting teacher called Mrs. Falcon. She called my parents one day and she told my parents that ask this boy to read. Now I realized the importance and relevance of what she told me when I was in class 2. When I was a small boy, now when I look back in hindsight, I realize the value and importance, and which is something which is very important to all of you. See, what does reading do? One, when you start reading, where do you get ideas from? It's not that you go off to sleep in the night and suddenly lightning strikes you and you have an idea in the morning. You have to read. You get various perspectives, you get various takes, you look at various things, right? Reading improves your language. Now, when your language improves, what happens? Your articulation becomes better. See, you are in a process, you will be lawyering. What will you will be advocating somebody's cause. Now, the point is, if I cannot articulate what I have, then what's the point of having that knowledge? So, articulation, what is the essence? The essence for the beginning is you must start reading. You should be a voracious reader. I'll give you a simple example. Just go back home and do this. Go back and do this. Take one paragraph, read it today, and just read it. The day after, go back, read the same paragraph again. Third day, go back, read the same paragraph. The fourth day, again do that. See the difference in your first reading and your fourth reading. Then you will understand what is the relevance and importance of. See, when you read it first time, you're just reading it cursorily. Next time when you're reading it, you start looking at the punctuation. The third time when you read it, you're reading it word by word. And then you will suddenly start realizing that what you had missed on the first, when you just glossed over the whole thing. So that is the essence of reading. That is what reading is all about. That is where the difference starts happening. Now, what that great learned teacher told my parents, what my parents thereafter made me do, is what helped me when I got into this professional law. See, when today law is a very sought after. In my time, it was not. It was just you were doing it because you wanted a degree. So you were not doing it you were not taking it as seriously as what you take it to be today, right? Now let's understand. See, today you are 18 years of age. Another 5 years down the line, you'll be around 23. You'll be leaving the portals of this university. First and foremost, see, you'll be welcomed into the Himachal Pradesh National Law University. I was reading the word Shimla. So the first thing that struck me was when I sat in this room, I saw these 12 bands. And then I realized that you have been sucked into and fooled into coming to Shimla, whereas you are 25 kilometers away from Shimla. Right? So the biggest, so you've been fooled into coming to, they are right to a extent when they say HPNLU Shimla. They mean Shimla district, they don't say Shimla. So technically they are right. Right? So you've been successfully fooled coming from various parts of this country to wait for Shimla whether right? So now you realize the foolishness of your decision taken. Right? Now let's get back to a little more serious things in life. See, 5 years down the line, when you get out of this university, when you stand up and see, some of you will practice, some won't practice, whatever. But you will be entitled to calling yourself what? You will be entitled to calling yourself as an officer of the court. Now let's understand the most serious ramification of this. See, all of you must have read a little bit of civics, political science, whatever, way back in school, right? Now, what do you mean by the word or the expression state? The state comprises of three things. First, it comprises of the elected members of the legislative assembly or the parliament at the central level, right? So the first part is the elected legislature who is responsible for lawmaking. The second part of that state is the political executive, which is called the cabinet, right? The third and the most crucial part of which will become a functionary, or which will become a very vital functionary, is something which is called the judiciary, right? Now, what does the judiciary do? We exercise something which is called a sovereign power, the right to making decisions with respect to people. We are deciding people's rights, right? Whether civil law, criminal law, whatever. We are adjudicating. This business of adjudication cannot be allocated or cannot be relegated by us to A, B, or any other authority. We have to do it ourselves. So this sovereign power has to be exercised by us. And this is very vital. Let's go back a little in history. We look at the freedom movement. Most of the freedom movement people came from where? They came from a law background. Why? See, what happens is there is a, let's take it in the light of the Mahabharata. Or let's take it to the epic. See, where does this concept of 14 years of Banwas come into being? What is 14 years of Banwas? You look at it, okay, 14 years is the story. It's not as simple as that. For any habit to evolve, it is technically proved that it takes 12 years. So, assuming if I smoke or I drink, and I say I've given it up, I have not given it up till the time I have not done it, or I have not observed it for 12 years of my life. If I give it up, I have to spend 12 years of my life. Why extend that to 14? Because 2 years of error of vision, maybe some error of vision committed during those 12 years. So for that habit to die down or for that habit to happen as a brain pattern, they say 14 years. Right? So that's the whole idea from where this concept of how this brain pattern or whatever happens. Now, getting back to when you become an officer of the court, getting things into perspective, time flies. It's not going to wait for anything. Today you are 18, you will be 23, you will be out of this place. Now, just to get things into perspective, let's take it like this. Today you are here. Look back at your life. Look back at the day when you went to a kindergarten. If you just reminiscence on that, you will realize, and it seems as if it just happened yesterday. So even this coming in today and this getting out tomorrow when you look back in hindsight, you will suddenly realize that it has happened so fast, you didn't even realize it. Now, here what are you going to do? See, if you take this as a road system or an exam system and you say, okay, I just have to pass an exam, get out of this entire thing, probably find that's just one way of looking at it. Here, what your endeavor and effort should be to understanding concepts. See a word, I'll give you a simple example, a word like possession. It may sound very ordinary. When you get into the depths of the entire thing, you suddenly start realizing that it's got such a vast and a wide meaning. Now, that's all about concept clarity. See, when you tomorrow stand up to articulate a view for somebody, you must yourself be clear. How are you going to convince a judge when you yourself are not convinced about the particular thing? Now, that conviction or that, how will that happen? It will only happen once you yourself are conceptually clear on something which you have thought of, read, reread, looked into that entire thing. So, these 5 years are going to be very extremely formative as far as you are concerned, because see, you are now heading into, you have opted for this profession. If nothing else, if you don't do anything else, and this is something which you are going to do. So, when you When you're going to do this, you might as well take the best shot at it. Give yourself the best possible opportunity of proving your value and worth. Right? And as speakers have already said, see, Einstein had once said, what is success? It's 99% respiration, 1% inspiration. That's what quote unquote what Albert Einstein had said. So it doesn't happen because it is meant to happen to you. It happens because you work towards it. You have to work towards it, you have to now this the people make too much of a hullabaloo about the whole thing that you're getting into law, this, that, whatever. See, let's understand law. What is law? See, when you start reading about all this, you start reading about social contract theories, Kelsen and the like, and so on and so forth. You read as to how societies are created by this social control. Now let's go back into your life. Let's look at it from your perspective. You are living in a family, right? Now, in a family, you live by certain rules, right? Now, those rules are controlled by whom? Your parents. Now, take for example, you have committed some kind of a mischief, right? You've broken the moral code or whatever was set by your parents, and in the process, you are caught. So you go back home. Your mother starts questioning you. Now, she's already investigated and she's already called up your friends or your peers to find out exactly what had happened. So, what is this? It's an investigation which your mother has already done. What is she doing to you? She's cross-examining you now, right? What is the whole purpose? The whole purpose is to elicit the truth. So this is something which you have experienced in your own life, at your own home. From your family, you went to a school. In a school, there was a certain code. The code said, okay, this much amount of attendance required, you have to appear in an exam, you have to come in a uniform. You don't go in your uniform, you've broken the code, right? Once you've broken the code, you are a delinquent. For the delinquency that you have indulged in, there's somebody who's the principal there or the headmaster there, so they call you, they question you, the parents are called, and then you are proportionately punished. The punishment is in proportion to the kind of delinquency which you have indulged in. So all along there's been some kind of a social control which has been happening. That was within the family, at the school. Now, assuming out of the school you went and before you reach your home there was some kind of a mishap which happened or whatever, some occurrence which happened wherein you violated the law. Obviously, then you became a juvenile. You got to be tried by a juvenile court because you're a minor, things of that sort. So it is something which you have all experienced. This is nothing very. Now, all that you're going to see when you get into the legal system, what is going to happen is now it's all the formalization of the formal institutional structure of law which is created. So what are you now getting into? You are now getting into reading. First and foremost, you will start understanding how laws have evolved. You are a society which exists at a particular level. Why is the law of this kind and this time in force in this country? Why is a similar law not in operation in some other country? It's because you must understand laws evolve over a period of time. They are specific to a certain society. Now, the society is what? It's social, it's political, it's economic, it's geographical, it's historical. So that's where what becomes very important is your overall reading. You must have a take. You should not just be concentrating on reading law. You should be concentrating on reading anything and everything. You should know about the society because laws are to be applied to a society. Divorced from a society, you can't understand laws. That take has to be based on the society on which it is being implemented. So you must be a voracious reader. My first and foremost advice to you is start reading anything and everything. You know, read Charles Dickens. What did he say? He said law is an ass. Now, the question is, if not understood in the context in which it was spoken, you will never understand why it was called an ass. So read Charles Dickens, you will understand why he called it an ass. The reason was, I tell you the reason. Men were supposed to know what their wives did because it was presumed that the wife did it because of the control of the husband. So the husband, in a very exasperated state, when he was confronted with this kind of presumption, said the law. He says, "Who says so?" So somebody told him that it's the law which says so. It is in that context he said law is an ass. If the law feels that, because in that, you know what the problem there was? The problem there was that the wife was the dominating personality in that relationship. So the husband was subjected to the dominating relationship. So he said, if you believe this, then obviously yes, law is an ass. So you have to understand all these perspectives and these things. Now, when you are reading about all this, when you're getting into the formal processes and the procedures, You will start reading procedure. Besides the legal history, the evolution of laws, you start reading procedure codes, substantive codes, what, and then various laws which have come out. I was just inquiring. Now you read almost around 58 subjects, which was unheard of in our times. I think we did what, how many? 20 subjects, something like that, spread over 3 years. So the number of subjects have increased, but the bottom line remains, you must understand the formal structure as to how matter has to be presented in courts. It's the same. I just see, if you look at civil laws, criminal laws, civil laws, revenue laws, taxation laws, and other things, you will realize that what happens is the procedure remains basically the same. Everywhere there's a petition or a plaint or a complaint which needs to be filed. So the point is, there has to be a person who has to have a locus to approaching that court. Now, how does that locus arise? Because there's a cause of action. His right has been infringed. So there has to be a right, an infringement of a right, and therefore the man says, okay, here is a complaint, here is a material for a complaint, now let's go to a court. Then what has to be understood is, where has it to be filed? So the jurisdiction has to be understood. Now the jurisdiction is pecuniary, that's money value, subject matter, right? Territorial. A cause of action which has arisen in Himachal needs to be addressed by a court existing here, not by a court addressed in the way situated in some other state, right? Second, pecuniary value. There are hierarchies of court. In terms of more than 1 crore, go to the High Court. Less than 1 crore, go to this court, right? So pecuniary, territorial, subject matter. Where does the subject matter? Which court will entertain? For a Guards and Guardians Act, for guardianship, you go to a court of a Guards and Guardians. So these are nuances which you will learn over a period of time. These are technicalities which you learn over a period of time. This is what you will learn. But the most important thing which you must realize is you will be standing up and articulating somebody's point of view. And that is not an easy job to be done. Because please understand one thing, it's serious business. Adjudication of somebody's rights is very valuable because a man going to a jail and a man losing his property are one and the same. So if I may be free in the society, but in the civil court I have lost my property, I am as bad as going to jail. So these are serious issues which have to be dealt with, and serious issues to be, determined and pursued with all vigor, vitality, and with all sense of responsibility. Now, apart from this, when you come to criminal laws, see, criminal law in India is very different. We don't have an adversarial system in criminal law. In criminal law, we have something which is called an inquisitorial system. Inquisitorial system means there's an investigating agency which looks into and investigates the crime. Based on that, a challan is prepared or a cancellation report or whatever. Then it is tried in a court by a prosecuting agency which is also an independent agency. Unlike America where there's an adversarial system. So you have totally different as far as, and there you are cross-examining people, the witnesses and the accused gets a right or whatever, to looking into and doing all this. So this is broadly, you must, these are broad parameters within which, and the other thing which I'll tell you, there were 2 cases of this university which came up before me, and I'll put across my point of view. There were students who had violated the norm of, I think, admission norm or something. Attendance norms, and there was another who had indulged in some kind of misbehavior. So I was sitting in the division bench the first time that instance came up. So my brother judge, who was a senior judge, had been a student leader in his own life. So I told him very carefully. I told the lawyer very clearly. I said, listen, my brother judge has been a student leader, but I have a very different take on all this. I said, if a student is infracted and has committed a wrong, I have no sympathy for such a student. And I tell you the reason also. It's something which in education law is called a misplaced sympathy. Now, in my life, I had been a councillor of Medical Council of India, and I had been a councillor of Medical Council of India since 1998, till the time I got elevated. So I had done a lot of education laws. So I told this councillor, I said, listen, I have no sympathy for such kind of man, and I for such kind of a boy, and I tell you the reason. I said, today, I grant him an injunction. I said, the first and foremost thing is from the teaching faculty and tell them, listen, what have you done? You passed an order, you injuncted me from appearing in my exam, and lo and behold, I've gone to the court, I've got an order, and the court has injuncted you. So I said, this kind of behavior, an injunction granted by me will result in this kind of a behavior. Now, if I condone this delinquency at this stage, I am creating a Frankenstein for future. Because tomorrow, when this gentleman goes out and leaves the university, commits a bigger crime, he will always have a court to fall back upon. Because in his heart of hearts and at the back of his mind, he will always know that there is some court I can go to that court and get some kind of an order based on some kind of a misplacement. So I refused. That petition was not pressed before me. I told them, I said, take it before any other bench. I'm not interfering. Recently, also, there was one case which I did, which again, a single judge's order came up before us in a division bench, and I offered that. I took the same view. I said, sorry, I'm not entertaining this kind. So it's a caveat for all of you that if you indulge in all this kind of mischief, then you may just land up against a judge like me. I don't know. So I'm just warning you. Nothing. I know that all of you are very serious. I'm just on the lighter side, just telling you of the kind of cases which one interacts and indulges with. It's always nice to meet younger people. It's a fresh breath of air for us people who become old and who are getting stale. We are like. I mean, I'm not. I'm still not. Maybe I'm historic as far as you are concerned. Not really historic for fossilized I'll get the moment I retire or whatever. But this is the whole and it's most of you, I believe, have come from various other parts of the country, and as I said, you've been successfully moved to coming to Shimla. You live in the weather, so it will be very nice. You are subjected to the same bans, minus the air conditioners, which obviously is where you came from. And I believe most of you come from family backgrounds which have lawyers or judges of them, right? So I presume that most of you are going to carry on with this profession. And see, when you are successful, this institution will be really very proud of the fact that you passed out of this institution. So that's your when you give back to an institution, what you do and what you attain in life will finally reflect on this institution and will foster the growth of this institution. People will speak highly of this institution. And see, I'm not saying that you should not. What I'm trying to tell you is you must fight for your own right. I'll give you an instance. I had a law clerk last year. There was some issue that the law clerks had with respect to the salary which was being paid or the stipend which was being paid to them. So my law clerk was very up and about. She was passed out from this national university. So she told me, she says, this is the issue. So I told her, I said, listen, you are a lawyer. If you can't fight for your own right, then who will come to you? First and foremost, you must stand up for yours. So she promptly went to the chief justice and we spoke with her. But the whole matter sorted out. So the first and foremost thinking, you see, you're all Gen Z, you are very articulate in, you're very up and about, you're very articulate. It's not like a generation like ours, wherein we were a little lost in the sense that, okay, we did law, because, okay, keep it as a fallback option, nothing else happens, then law will practice or whatever. You are very focused, you are very clear on what you are doing here. If you want to be lawyers, if you want to be whatever, you are doing whatever because you're clear and focused to that clear extent. So you know that there is a larger, that's your aim and object. Then you have that clarity. That's something which is very good and heartening. And I wish you all the best for all your. I don't want to terminate you. I don't want to dump you with all kinds of quotes. So one thing which comes to my mind is a quote which Voltaire had said. Now Voltaire was one of those French philosophers. He says, I may disagree with you, but I will stand up for the right for you to speak. I will not curtail your freedom of speech. It goes something like this, that your right to speak is what I will always defend. And that is what you stand up for people. You may disagree with somebody, agree to disagree. And then articulation of your point of view, you may have problems here or whatever, you should know how to articulate your view in the sense that which authority to approach. You shouldn't become violent or volatile in your efforts and endeavors. So that's it. I don't want to bore you with a long speech. Thank you very much. It was nice interacting with you, and I hope and wish all the success to you. I hope to see you someday later in life. That is, if I live long enough to see you as successful lawyers and judges. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Lordship. Every word of yours is very inspiring. As you quoted Voltaire, I will defend to the death your right to say. And the way you presented the plurality, toleration, connection, these are the important ingredients to be a law student, law teacher, or a legal practitioner. Thank you so much, Your Lordship. Now I would like to I request Voltaire Registrar Sir to propose a vote of thanks.
Dr. Mukunda, Honorable Mr. Justice Deekshaarambh, Judge High Court of Madhya Pradesh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, respected Sri Veer Parmati, Senior Advocate, High Court of Madhya Pradesh, Dean Academic Affairs, Professor Sriswar, my distinguished colleagues and dear students, good afternoon to everyone. On this occasion of Deekshaarambh 2026, I would like to propose vote of thanks. I extend our deepest gratitude to Honorable Mr. Justice Deekshaarambh for graciously delivering the presidency address with inspiring words on rationality, values, and responsibilities of the legal professional have left a lasting impression on us, sir. We are truly honored by your august presence. Thank you, Your Lordship. I extend my sincere appreciation to Sri Veer Parmati, Senior Advocate, High Court of Madhya Pradesh, for sharing his valuable experiences from the bar. Your practical insight into the legal profession have provided our students with a meaningful perspective. Thank you, sir. I offer my heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam Professor Saxena, whose address has inspired our students to pursue knowledge with dedication, integrity, and compassion. Thank you, ma'am. I also thank Professor Sriswar in the Academic Affairs for introducing us to the academic culture and values of the university. Thank you, sir. My sincere appreciation goes to our distinguished colleagues and their efforts to make this program successful. Thank you, everyone. So, dearest student, I once again congratulate on you becoming a part of HPNLU family. With these words, I thank you all.
At the end of the session, I request you all to join Professor.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जगति तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे कब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे
With this, this session comes to an end. I request you all to join